During a visit to Hawaii, an executive said to me, "There is no justice in the world. Everything is so unfair. Corporations are soulless. They have no heart. I work hard and spend long hours after closing time, but men under me are promoted, and I am passed up. It's all so unfair and unjust." My explanation was the cure for this man's wrath. I acknowledge that there is injustice in the world. It's everywhere. And that, as Robert Burns said, man's inhumanity to man makes countless thousands mourn. But that the law of the subconscious mind is impersonal and eminently fair at all times. Your subconscious mind accepts the impress of your thought and reacts accordingly. As you sow, you reap. You can plant orchids and you'll get orchids. Seeds grow after their kind. The seeds are your thoughts, of course. So man is what he thinks all day long. You are what you think all day long. What you feel you attract, and what you imagine you become. That's the law of mind. And the law is absolutely just. You can't think evil and expect good, you know. It's the set of the sails and not the gales that determines the way you go. It is your inner thought, feeling, and imagery, in other words, your mental attitude, operating within you rather than the winds of negative thoughts and the waves of fear from without. That makes the difference between promotion and success and failure and loss. The law is absolutely just and mathematically accurate, and your experiences are the exact reproduction of your habitual thinking and imagery. I briefly explained to the young executive the familiar story of the laborers in the vineyard, where all the workmen received a penny. Even those who came in at the 11th hour received the same wages as those who worked all day long. Also, the men who came in at the 3rd hour, the 6th hour, and the 9th hour, they received the same wages. When they saw that the men who had worked but 1 hour got the same wages, something happened. They were jealous and angry, but in the beginning they agreed for a penny. And the answer they received was, "Didn't thou agree with me for a penny a day?" The law is plainly stated in Matthew 18 chapter, 19 verse. "If two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven." This means that when your conscious and subconscious mind agree on promotion, success, abundance, and right action, the law of your subconscious mind will honor, execute, and bring it to fruition in your experience. I added to this man, "You are resentful, angry, and full of condemnation and criticism of the organization which employs you." These negative suggestions enter your subconscious mind and have resulted in loss of promotion, financial increase, and prestige. For man promotes himself. Every man answers his own prayer. If he doesn't know that today, he's in the dark ages. Because whatever you impress or believe, your subconscious mind will bring it forth as form, function, experience, and event. Whatever you really believe with your conscious mind, your subconscious will dramatize that and execute it, whether it's good or bad. I gave him the following mental and spiritual formula to practice daily. I know that the laws of my mind are absolutely just, and that whatever I impress in my subconscious mind is reproduced mathematically and accurately in my physical world and circumstances. I know that I'm using a principle of mind, and the principle is absolutely impersonal. I am equal before the laws of mind, which means it is done unto me as I believe. For the law of life is the law of belief. What do you believe in? To believe is to accept something as true. Millions of people believe lies, and that which they believe comes forth. I know that justice means fairness, rightfulness, and impartiality. And I know that my subconscious is absolutely impersonal and impartial. I realize that I've been angry, resentful, and jealous, and that I have also demeaned and criticized and condemned myself. I have psychically persecuted, assailed, and tortured myself. And I know that the law is, as within, so without. Therefore my Boston associates attest to and confirm objectively what I have thought and felt subjectively. What I accept completely in my mind, I will get in my experience, regardless of conditions, circumstances, or the powers that be. I wish success, prosperity, and promotion for all my associates, and I exude goodwill and blessings to all people everywhere. Promotion is mine, success is mine, right action is mine, wealth is mine. As I affirm these truths, I know they are deposited in my subconscious mind, the creative medium, and wonders are happening in my life. Every night of my life, prior to sleep, I imagine my wife congratulating me on my wonderful promotion. I feel the reality of all this, mentally and emotionally. My eyes are closed, and I am drowsy, sleepy, and in a passive, receptive state of mind. But I hear her congratulatory words, feel her embrace, and see her gestures. The whole mental movie is vivid and realistic, and I go off to sleep in this mood, knowing that God giveth his beloved in sleep, as the psalmist says in 127th Psalm. This executive discovered that the law of his mind established justice. Justice is conformity to the principles of his mind. Having enthroned right thoughts, right imagery, and right feeling in his conscious mind, his subconscious responded accordingly. This is very simple. This is the equity of the mind. The laws of your mind are the same yesterday, today, and forever. You don't change them. You can't. At the end of a few months following this prayer process, this executive had been promoted president of his corporation and is prospering beyond his fondest dream. A few years ago, I had many interesting talks with a Canadian woman. She informed me that she looks upon money and wealth like the air that she breathes. She felt as free as the wind. Ever since she was a child, this woman had claimed, I am rich, I am God's daughter, God gave me richly all things to enjoy. This was her daily prayer. She has accumulated millions of dollars and has endowed colleges and universities, establishing scholarships for worthy boys and girls, and has established hospitals and nurses' training centers in remote parts of the world. Her joy is in giving wisely, judiciously, and constructively, and she got richer than before. You see, a great law of mind is this. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. For example, if you say I'm no good, I'm a flop, I'm a failure, I'm getting old, I'm no use anymore, whatever you attach to I am, you become. Therefore, you should say, I am strong, I am powerful, I am loving, I am harmonious, I am kind, I'm inspired, I'm illumined, I'm immensely wealthy, and I am doing what I love to do, divinely happy and divinely prosperous. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. Therefore, you better watch what you're saying when you speak. She said to me one day, you know, the old aphorism is absolutely true. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. To those people who live in the consciousness of affluence and abundance, wealth flows by the cosmic law of attraction. Those who expect poverty, privation, and lack of all kinds are living in the consciousness of poverty, and by the law of their own mind, they attract more lack, misery, and deprivation of all kinds. What she said is definitely true. Many people who are living in poor circumstances are envious and resentful of the wealth of their neighbors. This mental attitude results in even more lack, limitation, and poverty in their lives. They are probably unwittingly blocking their own good, yet they have a fortune to share, if they would but put their minds to the truth of being, and realize that they too have the key which unlocks the treasure house of the gold mine within. A friend of mine who lived in northern Alaska once wrote me and said life was unbearable. He felt that he had made a tragic mistake in going to Alaska to seek his fortune, that his marriage was a complete failure, that prices were exorbitant, that cheating and overcharging were rampant. When he had gone to court to dissolve his marriage, the judge was crooked and he got a raw deal. He concluded by saying there is no justice in this world, the old story. What he said was true enough. All we need to do is to read the morning newspaper in any metropolitan area. and we read of murder, crime, purse snatching, mugging, rape, malfeasance and misfeasance in office, corruption in high places, venality on the bench, and in the legislative chambers of the world. But we must remember that all of these are man-made, and you can come out from among them and be separate. Surely there's injustice in the world. All you have to do is read the newspapers in the morning. A rapist is set free, or a murderer in some technicality, and then you read in the paper that he was released from prison and he raped a girl and choked her. Or he was just released from prison and he shot a policeman. Of course, they shouldn't be allowed to on the street, should they? That's injustice, isn't it? Because you're here to protect people, or at least that's what society is for. You can rise above the mass mind, man's cruelties and greed, by aligning yourself with the principle of right action and absolute justice within you. You establish justice in your own mind. Don't look for it in the world. It isn't there. God is absolute justice, absolute harmony, all bliss, boundless love, fullness of joy, absolute order, indescribable beauty, absolute wisdom, supreme power. But God is the spirit in you. God is the life principle. Stop looking for it. It's omnipresent. If it's omnipresent, it must be within you. Common sense tells you that. All of these attributes, qualities, and potencies of the infinite are within you. When you dwell on these qualities and contemplate the truths of the infinite, you rise above the injustice and the cruelties of the world, and you build a conviction counter to all its false beliefs and erroneous concepts. In other words, you build up a divine immunity, a sort of a spiritual antibody to the mass mind. The mass mind is the thinking of 4 billion people in this world, and you can't tell me that all their thoughts are lovely, noble, and godlike. That's absurd. This explanation was a prelude to my direct reply to my friend. I wrote to him suggesting that he stay where he was, that I suspected he wished to run away from his responsibilities and was merely seeking an escape. I wrote a short prayer as follows, and your thought is your prayer. Where I am, God is. God indwells me, and God has need of me where I am, otherwise I would not be here. This divine presence within me is infinite intelligence. It is all-wise. It knows all and sees all. It's the ever-living one, the all-wise one, the all-knowing one, the self-renewing one. It's the life principle in you, and reveals to me the next step, opening up for me the treasures of life. I give thanks for the answer, which comes to me as an intuitive feeling, or an idea which wells up spontaneously from my mind. He followed my advice and was eventually reconciled with his wife. He bought a camera and took pictures of northern Canada and Alaska. He wrote short stories and amassed what he considered a small fortune. This man had found happiness by tapping the treasure house within himself, establishing justice within himself, and he discovered that his fortune was right where he was. Recently, I talked to a college professor who was very angry over the fact that his brother, a truck driver, was earning $15,000 a year plus perquisites, and he was receiving only $8,500 a year as the research man. He was doing research work on cancer. He said, "It is all so unfair. We must change the system. I worked hard and toiled for 6 years to get my PhD degree, and my brother never even went to high school." Oh yes, you find that all over the world, don't you? This professor was brilliant in his particular field, but he was unaware of the laws of mind. I told him that a waitress in my favorite restaurant earns more than $300 a week with tips, and indicated that these disparities of which he spoke are everywhere, all over the world. I explained to the professor that he could rise above the mass mind, sometimes referred to as the race mind, or as the law of averages. That is the 5 cents mind. the mind that thinks from the standpoint of circumstance, condition, and tradition. Accordingly, at my suggestion, he began to practice the mirror treatment every morning. You can do it too. It works wonders. People have used it down through the ages. This consisted of standing before the mirror and affirming, "Wealth is mine. Success is mine. Promotion is mine now." Did you ever do that? That's called the mirror treatment. Look, you may, if you're a man, you've shaved, you've washed your face, you've brushed your teeth and all that. But you want to be promoted. You want to advance. That's the life principle, urging you to move onward and upward. For life is growth, it's expansion, it's unfoldment. You have maybe hidden talents that you don't know anything at all about. He continued affirming these statements for about 5 minutes every morning, knowing that these ideas would impregnate his subconscious mind. He knew what he was doing and why he was doing it. It was not mumbo-jumbo. He realized he was a gardener, planting seeds in the ground. And he knows very well that seeds grow after their kind. And when you put seeds in the ground, don't you water and fertilize them? Don't you give them sunshine? Don't you quicken and accelerate their growth that way? But you can't make the seed grow. The oak is in the acorn. He realized all that. Gradually, he began to feel the way he would feel were all these conditions true. At the end of 1 month's time, he received an offer from another university at a far greater salary. Suddenly, he discovered a flair for writing, and his manuscript has been accepted by a large publishing house, which will bring him a sizable income. The professor discovered that he was not a victim of the system or the schedule, the salary scale outlined by the university. You are if you think you are. His fortune lay in his discovery of the hidden power within him. A legal secretary complained to me as follows: "I never get the breaks. The boss and the other girls in the office are mean and cruel to me. I've been mistreated at home by my relatives all my life. There must be some kind of a jinx following me. I'm no good. I should jump in the lake." I explained to her that she was mentally cruel to herself, and that her self-flagellation and self-pity must have substantiation and confirmation on the external plane of life. If you are mean to yourself, other people are going to be mean to you wherever you go in this universe. If you think you're a worm, everybody is going to step on you. In other words, the attitudes and actions of those around her attested to and confirmed her inner state of mind. She thereupon immediately ceased punishing herself and learned that faith without works is dead. Book of James. And the book of James in the Bible is pure psychology. Did you ever read it? What is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is an attitude of mind, it's a way of thinking. A farmer has faith in the laws of agriculture. A chemist has faith in the laws and principles of chemistry. A mathematician has faith in the principles of mathematics. Not faith in a creed or a dogma or a man. That's nonsense. Faith in the mental image, which in time clothes itself in a body of manifestation. Faith in this sense, that whatever you emotionalize, whatever idea you emotionalize and feel to be true, becomes impressed in your subconscious. And whatever is impressed is expressed on the screen of space. Then you have faith in the laws of your mind and the way of the infinite spirit. Its nature is to respond to you. If you ask for bread, it doesn't throw you a stone. If you ask for a fish, it doesn't give you a serpent. It becomes the embodiment of your ideal. When you know that, you have faith. This secretary, at my behest, pictured herself being congratulated by her employer for very efficient work. She also imaged him announcing an increase in salary for her. She constantly diffused love and goodwill to her employer and to all her associates. Having faithfully sustained her mental image many times a day for several weeks, she was completely dumbfounded when her employer not only congratulated her on her work, but furthermore asked her to marry him. In a few hours' time, she realized the wonders of the deeper mind. She has found the key which unlocked the treasure house. Yes, you can learn this principle in 5 minutes, or an hour, or 2 hours, or you can learn it in a week. It's acceptance in your mind. For all things be ready, if the mind be so. Her faith proved to be the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Millions suffer from injustice all over the world. The reporters write about Cambodia today, and the English and French reporters tell us that by some general issued an order, and the blind, the halt, and the lame, and all the people in the cities are driven out. They even went into hospitals and told the doctor to order them all out. And some of the doctors were operating. Said it doesn't make any difference. You simply have to order them out. So man's inhumanity to man makes countless thousands born. That's true. So the one general orders, can create cruelty with hundreds of thousands or millions of people. These things are shocking, but we have our dictators and despots and tyrants. We've had them down through the ages. We still have them. The Hitlers, the Stalins, and the Genghis Khans are still active, and they're all over the world. One general's orders can, of course, cause thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions to suffer. The world is full of cruelties and injustices at homes, factories, plants, jails, and everywhere. A research doctor working on cancer for 7 years, studying the ravages of the disease. He's getting $10,000 a year as a research man. His brother is a truck driver. He has fringe benefits, and he gets $30,000 a year, plus perquisite. It doesn't seem quite fair. He's angry about it. Well, you have these inequities, injustices all over. Some years ago, speaking at Dr. Barker's church in New York City, a lawyer who was present told me that she was receiving $13,000 a year. In 1960, of course, that was a pretty good salary. She was working for a corporation. But her sister, working in a nearby club as a Playboy waitress, was getting $350 a week plus tips. Now, her sister spent no time studying in school or burning the midnight oil, had no experience. There is nothing wrong with the job of a waitress. But when you compare it with the skill, the training, and experience of the sister, it doesn't seem quite fair. The mothers of the world work very hard. They don't belong to any union. They receive no guaranteed wage, and oftentimes they're shunned by their children. In my experience, oftentimes they're never even invited to the wedding. In visiting many of them in rest homes, their complaint is, "My children never visit me." Justice is of the mind. You must become acquainted with the mental and spiritual laws. Then you are in a position to command justice, which means to make things even, to balance the imbalances. Justice means just treatment. Justice, when personified, is usually represented as a goddess holding a sword or scales, often both. Her eyes are sometimes blindfolded or closed as tokens of impartiality. Justice is conformity to truth, based on righteousness, right thought, right feeling, right action, based on the golden rule of the law of love. It means to balance the imbalances and establish equilibrium. Billions all over the world are hungry for peace, harmony, health, abundance, security, and love. The place to find security, peace, and joy is to get in tune with the infinite and claim infinite spirit flows through me as love, peace, strength, guidance, harmony, beauty, and inspiration. This is the bread of life. It's an invisible, intangible, but real food. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, a broken spirit drieth the bone. And the bread, of course, is not bread on the table. It's the bread of peace, of harmony, right action, of beauty, of strength, and courage. How can you live today without inspiration, without love, without guidance, without inner peace, without love? Better a dinner with bitter herbs than an ox where envy dwells, Solomon says. So you can eat the choicest food on the table and get up hungry for peace and harmony and health and vitality and love and companionship, can't you? Of course you can. So when you read, "Give us this day our daily bread," that's an English translation. What it really is saying is, give us that which is our own. And God is the giver and the gift. And Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I hath is thine. And God is the living spirit within you, and the gift has been given. And therefore we have to learn to be receivers. Receivers, for all things be ready, if the mind be so. Do you pray for air, or sunshine, or water? Take all the air you want, who cares? It was always here. It was here before you were born. There's enough fruit, scientists tell us, that rots in the tropics to feed all humanity. Nature is lavish, extravagant, and bountiful. It's inexhaustible. You can get all the energy you want from hydrogen, you know. It's in the water. There's no shortage of water. There's always the same amount of water in the universe. You're dealing with the infinite, and spirit and matter are one. Matter is the lowest degree of spirit, and spirit is the highest degree of matter. An infinite spirit created the universe and the galaxies of space. And infinite intelligence is within man. Man can have an idea worth a fortune. He can have an idea that put millions to work. He can have new ideas about energy, transportation. He can do all these wonderful things because the infinite within him will reveal it to him. So it's not bread on the table. In Luke, the 18th chapter, it says, "There was in a city a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came to him, saying, Avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterwards he said within himself, Though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me." Well, there was an unjust judge in biblical days, and of course they are all over the world, just as they are today. You read where some rapist and criminal is set free based on some technicality of the law. This woman persisted in that which is right and just. She refused to take no for an answer. This does not mean the negative use of persistence, where a man wants to sell you something you don't want. He pesters the life out of you, annoys you. Finally, you buy it to get rid of him. That's a boomerang. It boomerangs on him. That's the wrong way. That's the wrong use of persistence. You persist in that which is right, in right thought, right feeling, right action, and the great laws of life. He who perseveres to the end shall be saved. It's perseverance in right action, in that which is lovely, noble, and godlike. You persevere on these things, then all good will be yours. The law is impersonal and neutral. That applies to any law. That's the law of your subconscious mind also. Whatever you impress is expressed on the screen of space. Morality depends on how you use the law. The murderer can plant seeds or orchids, and they will grow for him also. He can also navigate a plane, if he's initiated in the laws of navigation. The law responds to the holy man as well as the cutthroat. Your thought carries its reward. Never take advantage of another or hurt another in any way. To do so is to hurt yourself, because whatever you think about the other, you must remember you are the thinker, and you're creating it in your own mind and body and circumstance. You're told it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. You don't always find justice in this world. To think so, of course, is insane. But in the kingdom of heaven, there is justice, and the kingdom of heaven is within you. Heaven is your own mind when it's at peace, and you're a king over your conceptive realm. You're the master over your own thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. Of course, you're a king over your own mind. You will experience the exact manifestation of your inner beliefs and convictions. As within, so without, as above, so below, as in heaven, meaning in your mind, so on earth. Earth is your body, your environment, conditions, your world, your body, your social status, your position in the world, your financial status. All things appertaining to you are a mathematical representation of your inner state of mind. The inside balance the outside. As within, so without. Here is a woman who had a lawsuit. Others were lying, taking false oaths, which they can do under the aegis of the court, of course. And they wanted to break the will, because when a person dies, as this woman said, they seem to come out of the woods, even the 31st cousin. So I told her, I said, you go back to the center and realize that there is a law of justice, truth, love, and harmony operating for you, through you, and all around you. The law operates perfectly for you and all concerned. And realize there is a divine harmonious solution through the wisdom of the Almighty. Adhere to this truth. When fear comes, affirm. It is God in action, which means all around harmony and peace. God is the life principle in you, moving us harmony, beauty, love, and peace. It's the living Spirit Almighty. It's without face, form, or figure. Scientists call it energy. Energy is a term used by science for the living Spirit. But it moves as unity, moves as harmony. There are no divisions or quarrels in it. There's nothing to oppose the infinite. Infinity can't be divided or multiplied. To think so is absolute insanity. There's only one power. Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one Lord, one power, not two or three or 1,000, just one. As one power, moving as unity and harmony. Nothing to oppose omnipotence, otherwise words have no meaning. So when you say God in action means all around harmony and peace, adhere to that truth. Then, I told her, the day will break and all the shadows will flee away. The widow in the Bible could not bribe the judge, but she insisted on right action. She didn't have any shekels or sheep or goats to give the judge. Nichols, who studied with Ouspensky, called this parable shameless impotence. Meaning, she insisted and persisted in getting justice. It's called the parable of importunity. It's as true and irrelevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Insist on right action and harmony. It's wrong to contribute to the greed or the neurosis of another person. Insist on divine law and order in your life. Insist on wholeness and beauty. Insist on divine love. For God gave you richly all things to enjoy. God made you rich. Why then are you poor? The Upanishad said that thousands of years ago. So give attention to spiritual values. Do this feelingly, knowingly, and intensively, and you will be triumphant. For example, the lateral is used by many people who have cancer. They go down to Tijuana because it's banned by the government here, FDA. One judge gave permission recently for a doctor to use it as a supplement. They have told the people that you're incurable, it's hopeless, that you're going to die anyhow, there's no chance, they have nothing to offer you. Well, if these same people believe that they can be helped by lateral, why not let them use it? These injustices and iniquities, are rampant. They are saying to you, you're going to die, but you must die our way. And along that line, this morning, when I was preparing to make this cassette, I read an article by James Kilpatrick, apropos what we're talking about. He's talking about this apricot, and he's used the term the Colonel Gang. It's composed of several thousand men and women, including quite a few certified doctors of medicine, who cling to the notion that there is, or may be, some therapeutic value for cancer patients in a substance identified as amygdalin. That's the active ingredient in apricots. But it is not marketed, he said, legally in the United States. It can be obtained in a dozen other countries, notably Mexico, but the FDA, that's the Federal Drug Administration, regards Laetrile as an unlawful drug, and the Bureau of Customs regard it as contraband. The patient is dying, and nothing works. In desperation, he says, I've heard of other cancer victims who seem to get relief from pain, and sometimes remission from Laetrile. Please, may I now try that? This is what James Kilpatrick says. And of course, why not? Why not try it? If they believe in it, it'll work. According to your belief, is it done it to you? The government response, he said, is to put the matter plainly, is precisely, go ahead and die. We say Laetrile is worthless, therefore you can't have it. We will prosecute any doctor or supplier who tries to make it available to you. Now, that doesn't seem just, does it? Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sure it doesn't make any sense to you. If you want to go down to Tijuana and get some shots, why shouldn't you? I personally have known people who claimed they were completely healed of cancer by taking these injections. Well, if they believe, even if the object of your faith be true or false, you'll get results, But according to your belief, even though it's blind belief, your subconscious will respond. Therefore, that makes sense to me. The commissioner, he said, is of the opinion that a drug intended for use in cancer, which lacks scientific evidence of effectiveness, cannot be regarded as safe. The United States District Judge Bohannon in Oklahoma flatly rejected this specious reasoning. He has ordered Laetrile made available to petitioning patients. Judge Bohannon has company. April the 7th. Judge Constantino in New York ruled decidedly in favor of providing Laetrile for a 69-year-old carpenter who is suffering from inoperable cancer of the pancreas. In response to such court orders, the Federal Drug Administration has scheduled a hearing for May, but it is a stacked and rigged proceeding. State legislators are demonstrating better sense. Indiana just the other day passed a bill defying the FDA's autocratic rule. Alaska adopted such an act last year. Efforts to legalize Laetrile continue elsewhere. The issue is freedom. By every rational indication, amygdalin is harmless. That's the active ingredient of apricot. Members of the apricot Colonel Gang eat it all the time. This being so, why can't the free people have it if they want it? That's by James Kilpatrick in this morning's Times, 26th of April. Well, of course, these things go on everywhere. Publicans and harlots, we're told, enter the kingdom of heaven before the Pharisees. And we're also told, to him that hath shall be given, to him that hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. If a man is mean to himself, if he's condemning himself, he is mistreated by others. If you think you're a doormat, everybody's going to step on you and walk on you. Exalt God in the midst of you, mighty to heal. Because you're a daughter of the infinite, you're a son of the living God. Therefore be conscious of your dignity as a son of the living God. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's the law of mind. The law is logical, it's eminently fair, it's absolutely just. As we sow, we reap. There are some men look upon wealth like the air they breathe. They have ideas. They say infinite intelligence reveals to me new ideas which are creative, which bless humanity. New ideas come to them. There are some people who landed here from foreign countries. All they had were the clothes on their back. And they got ideas. They studied hard. They learned English. And they're now employing thousands and thousands of people. They went up the ladder. They had something to give. The law always evened things up. Law is immutable. A man in Los Angeles feared that he would lose his home. He said, "Oh, yes, I'm going to lose it." And he pictured the loss and all that. He said, "I can't get the money. My relatives turned me down. The banks won't give it to me." He began to think of lack, loss, limitation. And, of course, he lost his home. This is equalization of the inner and the outer, because you can't think lack and loss and limitation and expect prosperity and success. Then the law would not be just. But, oh, how I love thy law. Let it be my meditation both day and night. The law is absolutely just. The inside governs the outside. This is an equalization of the inner and the outside. The inside is one of poverty and privation and fear and lack. That which I greatly fear has come upon me. It's a state of mind. Therefore, according to his belief, was it done unto him. To him that hath shall be given. To him that hath the conscience of wealth, who believes in a God of abundance, and say, God is the source of my supply, and all my needs are met at every moment of time and point of space. Such a man attracts wealth of all kinds, spiritual, mental, material, financial. Yes, he has the consciousness of affluence, and he looks upon wealth like the air that you breathe. Blessed are the poor. Yes, the poor are open and receptive. They expect great things. If you have a closed mind, I can't teach you anything. A full cup, you can't put anything into the full cup. A lot of people are that way. They say, I know it all. You can't teach me anything. The publicans and the harlots enter the kingdom before the Pharisee. The Pharisee is all over the world. He's the 5 cents man. He believes in rituals and ceremonies. He said, I belong to the right religion. He looks down his nose at you. It's unfortunate you don't belong to his cult or his creed or something, you know. But religion is of the heart. There's nothing to do with the lips at all. Your religion is the thing that binds you. It's your emotional espousal. It's what you really believe in your heart that's made manifest, not what you believe with your lips. And therefore, you realize that religion is ligio I bind, reback. Millions are bound by fear. The thing that binds you is your religion, you know. Comes from the very word itself. Ligio, as I said, means I bind and reback. We should be bound back to a God of love. That should be our real religion. A God of love in our own heart, guiding, directing us. Our boss, our guide, our wayshower, our troubleshooter, our adjuster. Having such a boss in your mind, you have a God of love. That's true religion. Its ways become ways of pleasantness, and its paths become paths of peace. Don't you know the religion of millions of people in the world is plain ignorance? And Buddha said, thousands of years ago, the only sin is ignorance, and all the misery and the suffering in the world is a consequence. So imagine ignorance ruling our mind. Isn't that a frightful thing to contemplate? Yet it rules millions of minds. And superstition governs the minds of millions of people. So the dominant idea governs you, governs all your lesser thoughts, your feelings, actions, and reactions. Oh, yes, it does. Because we're talking about laws of mind. And the laws of mind you can change. So should we take care of people from the cradle to the grave? No. Because then you're psychologically castrating man. You rob him of his divinity. He's here for self-discovery. He's here to make mistakes. When you went to school, you got a rubber at the end of your pencil. You're supposed to make mistakes. Through mistakes you learn how to add, subtract, and divide. You may make mistakes in human relations. You learn from it. And therefore, when you learn the laws of mind, you shouldn't repeat the mistake. Because you've learned how to use the laws of mind. You don't rob man of self-propulsion, of initiative self-discovery. So to take care of him from the cradle to the grave, he becomes a vegetable. He never discovers himself, and you rob him of his divinity. Wrong. Then you say to himself, I'm going to see to it that you don't learn, that you don't know who you are. But he's the Son of the living God. heir to all that is. He's here to learn. Don't you deprive him of it. So, in not only on this apricot thing, if a person believes they're going to get help, let them have it. It's harmless anyhow. It's only a vitamin supplement. But the FDA says it's no good. Yet people have told me that they were cured because according to their belief it is done unto them. Justice makes things equal. Know the truth shall set you free. And what is the truth? I am is the truth. And I am means a being, life, awareness. It's a nameless name. When you say I am, you're announcing the presence of the living God. In India, they call it Om, which means being, life, awareness. All right. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. And therefore you know that truth. Therefore you say, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm illumined, I'm inspired, I'm happy, I'm joyous, I'm free. I'm in my true place. I'm doing what I love to do. I'm divinely happy, I'm divinely prosperous. I'm free, I'm happy, I'm joyous. Then according to your faith is it done unto you. Affirm these things with feeling, with understanding. And whatever you attach to I am, you become. Faith is a state of mind which commands justice. You believe in the principle of harmony and the principle of truth, which is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's always the same. I, the Lord, change not. No truth is always the same, and according to your conviction is it done unto you. The external world mirrors our internal world of thought, feeling, and belief. Man is belief expressed. What do you believe in? According to your belief is it done unto you. For the law of life is the law of belief. The inside equals the outside, for as within, so without. One woman was praying for promotion and advancement, yet she resented the supervisor, saying to herself, that supervisor is blocking my promotion. I explained to her, she was unjust to herself, placing this woman in a pedestal, making her greater than the infinite within her. This attitude makes no sense. Her desire for promotion, expansion, and growth is from the life principle within, and the infinite can bring to pass in divine law and order. Promotion, expansion, right action, anything you want. She was denying the power of the infinite, which is omnipotent, all-powerful, and claiming the supervisor was greater than the infinite. Now that's absurd, isn't it? She made things equal by affirming promotion is mine, advancement is mine, achievement is mine, in divine law and order, through the power of the infinite. She established the mental equivalent, and according to the mental equivalent is it done unto you. There's no such thing as a free lunch in the universe. You have to pay for everything in the universe. If you want to become a great actress or a great singer, you have to go within yourself. And if you have that talent to sing, you can say, God sings in majestic cadences through me. I sing the song of triumph through the power of the Almighty. You imagine you're singing in a wonderful, magnificent way, that you're stirring up the soul of men, stirring up within them peace and harmony and love, that you're lifting them up in joy and happiness. And as you continue to do that, you're establishing the mental equivalent. If you love music, don't you have to study the scales, the symphonies and all that? Don't you have to get absorbed and engrossed in music? Don't you have to give it attention? Don't you have to practice? Don't you have to establish the mental equivalent of music in your soul so that you can play a Rachmaninoff prelude blindfolded? Why? Because the equivalent is in your subconscious mind. Likewise, if you want to prosper, be successful in life, you have to establish the mental equivalent. So get wisdom, you're told. With all thy getting, get understanding. Wisdom is an awareness of the presence and power of God within you. You're becoming wise when you know that every thought is creative. Every thought is incipient action. The Word was made flesh. The Word is a thought expressed. It's made manifest. Every thought is incipient action. Every thought you think is creative. You better have a healthy, reverent, wholesome respect for your thoughts. Otherwise, you're going to get into lots of trouble. And what you feel, you attract, and what you imagine, you become. You can imagine yourself as a bum. You can imagine yourself, jumping trains as a hobo. And you keep it up, and you'll become a hobo. But you can imagine also that you're a tremendous success, that you're a great singer. You can imagine yourself before an audience, singing the majestic cadences and thrilling the souls of men. Realizing the great singer is within you, for the universe means the song of God. For God sings a song, and that song is man. All manifestation. Scientists tells us that everything in the universe sings. Yes, it does. It's a universe of densities, frequencies, and intensities. Your body is simply waves of light, and the whole world is the dance of God. This is modern science today. So wisdom is the principal thing. Get wisdom with all they get and get understanding. And wisdom is justified of our children. And you have children of the mind just as well as physical children. So if I see a beautiful painting, it catches the eye, it's very beautiful, then I realize that you were contemplating the indescribable beauty of the infinite, and you brought forth beauty on the canvas. But how could you bring forth beauty on the canvas, except you were contemplating beauty? You don't see beauty. It's a quality of the infinite within you. You don't see love, but you can love your child, and you can love a dog too. It's an emanation of goodwill. These are invisible, intangible powers within you. Yes, you do have children of the mind. And also, if you write a book which stimulates the soul of man, which inspires and elevates and dignifies his soul, that came out of your mind, was a child of your mind, wasn't it? And also, if you sculpture something beautiful, may hold them some mind in trance. So we have children of the mind, we also have physical children. And how often have you said, he's well-led, he's well-mannered. Notice, the wonderful student he is. He respects the teachers, the policeman, his mother. And he does all the chores around the house, and he's respectful and all that. Don't you say, he must come from a good home. His parents must have inculcated into his cranium wonderful ideas and great truths, because he practices the golden rule and the law of love. You say the parents have raised him well. Yes, children justify the wisdom and the training of the parents, don't they? Your wisdom is reflected in the attitude of the boy or the daughter. It also is reflected in your work, in your science, in your art, in your industry, in your writing. And you read some of these articles written by people to the newspapers, written in venom, in vitriol. They're quite vindictive. That's based upon self-loathing. In other words, I hate myself. And when you hate yourself, you project hatred onto others. But you see, you can't hate others except you first hate yourself. It's impossible. It's unthinkable. It's inconceivable. Therefore, self-loathing is self-hatred. And then we project that onto others. It comes out in our speech, in our art, and everything else. So get wisdom. It's a principal thing. In all thy ways acknowledge her. She will make plain thy path. Trust her and believe in her, and she will bring it to pass. There is a cosmic law, and that law is within you. You cannot gain or lose anything except through your mind. For the law, as I said previously, is absolutely fair, eminently just. You can't bless your boy and curse him in the same breath. You can't laugh and cry at the same time. You can't exalt and denounce in the same breath. You can't say, my boy, infinite intelligence guiding him, and the same breath say he's all mixed up. No, you can't think of two things at the same time. What's true in physics is true in metaphysics. Two things cannot occupy the same place at the same time. Same thing in your mind. Your mind is not geared to it. You can't laugh and cry at the same time either. Therefore, if you're married, exalt the divinity in your partner, and then the marriage will grow more blessed and more beautiful through the years. Why? You're exalting the divinity within each other. If you dwell on each other's shortcomings, derelictions, and peculiarities, abnormalities, we all have them, then you're fastening these states on the other person and also on yourself. And then you're eating out of the garbage can. You're scavengers, and you're already divorced because you're divorced from harmony, peace, love, joy, beauty, kindness, goodwill, understanding. Surely that's divorce. Divorce takes place in the mind. And then you're in trouble. The thing to do is exalt the divinity in each other and claim that infinite intelligence leads and guides your partner. Divine right action reigns supreme. Divine love saturates the minds and hearts of the other person. Then the marriage or the partnership grows more blessed through the year. You cannot gain or lose anything except through your mind. You can't. You will not admit the loss. Supposing you told me you lost $30,000 to some con man who swindled you. Well, you probably didn't use your 5 senses. You probably didn't investigate him. You didn't check up with an attorney or a broker. You didn't investigate his background. You didn't do anything you were supposed to do. And you were careless, indifferent, apathetic, listless, and lazy. You didn't even use common sense. Then you admit that you lost it. You say, well, no. If you admit you lost it, you have. But you can't lose or gain anything except through the mind. So I bring you back to a knowledge of the laws of mind. And said, yes, literally speaking, you've lost it. But if you will mentally claim that you're now mentally and spiritually identified with the $30,000, it comes back to you in divine law and divine order. Because whatever you give mental attention to, whatever you're focused on, your subconscious will magnify and multiply exceedingly. You refuse the loss. You do not accept the loss in your mind. Therefore, you cannot lose it. That's a law of mind. You can't gain except through the mind. You can't lose except through the mind. You can't sell a home except you first sell it mentally. You don't buy a pair of shoes except you first bought them mentally. You don't get a job except you first accepted it mentally. The body doesn't do anything. A dead man doesn't shake hands or laugh or talk with you. The life force has left him. Your finger doesn't write a check. It's the mind acting on your finger that writes the check. So this is what I teach people. This woman lost $30,000. I'm constantly on my guard against negative thinking. I cast it out of my mind whenever it enters in. I have faith in the infinite power and presence that always works for good. My faith is in the goodness and guidance of the infinite. I open my mind and heart to the influx of the divine spirit. I discover an ever-increasing sense of power, wisdom, and understanding. I am mentally and emotionally identified with $30,000. And I know that I cannot lose anything except I accept the loss in my mind, which I positively, definitely, and absolutely refuse to accept. I know the way my subconscious works. It magnifies what I deposit in it. Therefore, my money comes back to me, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It came back to her, multiplied and magnified. God in action.